Hello there, and welcome. Well, we're into the very last part of this project, the last 10 weeks or so. And I started thinking about what I might say that I haven't said and what I might talk about. And it has come in several different ways to me that what I really need to talk about is how I might confront having to teach if I were in a public school classroom again right now. And of course, the biggest challenge for high school teachers right now is AI. And it's AI because of several things. It's AI partly because not many people have availed themselves outside the world of technology of what's really possible and likely from AI and what is really useful about AI. And you know, if you've watched this whole series, that I object to the term AI or artificial intelligence. I consider it machine learning. And so my feeling about it is less frightened, but also less likely to be impressed by what it can do. Every once in a while you'll see demonstrations about how AI wrote a poem. Well, AI didn't write a poem any more than that one kid stole a poem from a writer that I really admired. AI doesn't write poetry. AI steals ideas and repackages them and hands them. What machine learning is good at is predicting outcomes. It's data driven. And the data that it uses is all human data. It doesn't create anything new. It doesn't intuit anything interesting. And it is not able to do things that human beings can do. It has no social intelligence, none. Even the most inept and socially arrested human being has more intuition in their worst moments than AI can ever have in its best, because it is not a person. It may appear that way because of how the designers design it, but it's not a person. And for that reason, my first step, if I were in the classroom, would be to remind myself, this is an opportunity for me to really think about the techniques of teaching that work, and maybe to find some new and innovative ways to approach some of this material. Every generation of teachers has had something new, some new thing to approach, and had the opportunity to maybe either employ it or to overcome it in a way that's interesting. So, I'm going to put this in the context of my cooking experience. There are no Italians in my family background. There are people from every walk of life and from nearly every culture on earth, but no Italians. Now that may not seem like much to you, it's not that important, but to me it was important because I love Italian food. So when I was a kid, when Mother would make spaghetti, her pasta sauce, there was something that wasn't right about it, that didn't really work about it, because she didn't really know what needed to go into it. And we used something called ragu. I don't know if you've ever had ragu. I don't even know if they still make ragu. They probably do. You know, it was one of those terrible bottled, mass-produced sauces that, to my young palate, tasted pretty good. And it tasted different than Mother's, and Mother didn't know what the difference was. And so Mother, who was my template in many ways for womanliness, for how to approach the kitchen, and her mother, and even my father's mother, who was more experimental, more wildly experimental than my mom or her mother, didn't know what to put in to make it taste Italian, or make it taste the way I thought great red sauces tasted. Now, so did I give up? Did I think, well, I'll just have to go with the canned sauce forever and taste something that's not as good as I can get in certain restaurants or certain homes? So how do I do this? Well, I didn't have anybody to approach as a cook in the town where I lived when I started trying this dish. There weren't any Italians in Estancia at that time, but there was a show on TV, and that show was called The Galloping Gourmet. And in the summers, I used to watch The Galloping Gourmet. He was kind of like Julia Child, only he wasn't on PBS. He was on another channel, and he would make these dishes. And by watching The Galloping Gourmet, I realized he was using something in his Italian cooking that we didn't even have in our cabinets. And I blush to admit we didn't have this in our cabinets, but we didn't. We didn't have oregano. And I didn't know what oregano tasted like or smelled like. And so when Mother went to the store on Saturday, which she often did, she took me with her because I love going to the grocery store. There on the spice shelf was a jar of dried oregano. And Mother sweetly, because she loved me and supported me in my efforts, when I said, could we buy some oregano? Would that be possible? She said, sure. It made the difference. It was the thing we were missing. We had all the other stuff, the garlic, the basil, even the sweetener, although the best sweetener is red wine, but even that, we had even that. So you can discover this. It may not be where you expect it to be. You may have to do some research. You may have to think about your technique. You may have to think about your methods, but you can do this. You, teacher, are more creative than any machine out there. You can do this. You can find a technique by which you can overcome students' temptations to use machine learning instead of learning it themselves. So think about it, consider it. Summer's coming up. You've got an opportunity, hopefully, for a couple of weeks of reflection and consideration and research, and you can do this. You're going to find the method that's going to make it work. I promise you it's out there. You can find it. You can do it. And I'm going to be making suggestions. In the next 10 weeks, I'm going to make suggestions about things I might try if I were back in the classroom today and facing some of the things I've heard that teachers have had to face concerning this ridiculous machine learning or artificial intelligence that's interfering with student performance. That's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon. You gorgeous creatures.